And welcome back. Our next guest has over a decade of experience in business administration, energy, and engineering, focusing on the diversity and economic opportunity in the energy sector. She's been crucial in driving change across industries and communities, from federal workforce development to empowering future clean energy leaders through education. Joining me now is the founder of the Chieftess Consulting Group, LLC. Oh my God, Shalaya Morissette. I almost messed up her name. She's right here with us. How you doing, Shalaya?
Lovely. Thank you for having me. You got it right. You
No,
got it
I had a
right.
whole bunch of things going on in the prompter, and I almost had a mind freeze. But I'm glad to have you, Shalaya. Thank you so much for being with us. And really, when we talk about energy and we talk about community, those two go hand in hand. But you're doing a great job of really trying to bridge the gap of bringing both to a different kind of place. So tell me a little bit about your work.
Absolutely. So I've been in energy, like you said, over a decade. I'm older than I look, and really, what I recognized was that there weren't a whole lot of folks in energy that looked like me, and so I started doing a ton of community work, and recognized that look, we're all going to pay an energy bill. But the reality is, most of us don't understand what's happening around us, and we're sort of going with the flow of things. And so, what I found was there is really innovation in younger people. They are tuned in, they're dialed in. It's sort of the number one thing that they're concerned with is climate change. Thinking about how to meet them where they are. When you say, hey, look, in 10 years, you may not be able to go and visit Miami Beach, that sort of perks their ears and says, hold on, right? I'm getting older. I want to be able to hang out and do all that fun stuff that I see. And so, sort of meeting them where they are gets them excited about what can I do to change that. And so, as an educator, and in my heart of hearts, I started working with young people and saying, how do I get you interested? And what I found that a simple thing like coloring was it. And so I
Mm.
started featuring real people that are my friends in a coloring book that my daughter, who is 7 now, gets the luxury of having in her life every day. And so I looked to these women and I said, what is it about you that a 5-year old or a 10-year old would be interested in? And so I collected a bunch of facts about them. Most of them are in STEM, they're engineers, they're geologists, they're CEOs, they're amazing people, and featuring them sort of brought to light that it's more than just your typical celebrities that are doing great things. And so bringing that to the forefront has been so much fun for me, and being able to sort of connect them in classrooms, connect them as mentors has been a game changer.
I want to back up for a minute on something that you said. You said something about young people really have a proclivity to really enter into STEM and really are taking this head on, and particularly in communities of color, we're seeing more and more gravitation towards this. What has been the game changer to really make that pivot? Because as I said, before we've been labeled as not, you know, those candidates that are for STEM, but now we're seeing more and more are young people taking full advantage of it.
Yeah, anecdotally, I would say that I've seen more girl dads investing in their children, right? Saying that, the reality for them is once you have a child that is a girl and you say, oh my gosh, just because she was born a girl, she's going to be paid less. Well, if you're a girl dad and you're an engineer, you know that you can teach them anything, and sort of pouring into children at a very young age. I think my daughter was 3 when I said to her, okay, this is potential energy, this is kinetic energy, run around, and she got it. And
Mm.
that sort of opened up the door to what does that mean? So it really is, I think, having more parents that are intentional with their children, stopping the rhetoric that math is hard. We know that young girls by the age of 7 are deterred, right? Getting them into more coding camps, just opening the door for exposure has been the game changer. Seeing it on television, knowing that there are women, Black women in particular, in STEM roles, has really shifted the mindset that you can do this and it's not for elitists. It is for everybody, and the world around you operates in the realm of physics and math, and you should know what's happening.
Yeah, you're pretty passionate about collaborating in that energy sector, and making sure that those strategic partnerships are met and leading and building a bridge. And from a person that's on the outside in, the question would be why?
Oh my gosh. The why is you're going to pay the energy bill, right?
Hmm.
Why not be at the helm and say, look, there's nobody in energy that makes less than 6 figures. That's the reality. I don't know anybody that makes less than that. And it's not just the engineers, right? Energy is $1 trillion industry. And it doesn't matter what level you're at, you're going to make a really strong, livable wage. And that is not just your high level scientists. That is your field workers who are out actually looking for leaks. Those are your guys that are getting up on a pole to take all of the time in the world, all the safety precautions to make sure that we have power, right? You can pretty much say that there is nothing that's not applicable in terms of degrees or no degrees, a skill set. Can you communicate with other people? Can you talk to people about what it is that you do? Can you get the job done? Are you meticulous in nature? In this field, you can be a little OCD and pay attention to detail to the next level, and you're welcomed in the space. So lots of money, lots of opportunity. It's only going to get bigger. The opportunities change every day. I tell young people, can you swim? Are you afraid of heights? Do you only want to work 6 months a year? If so, there's $120,000 waiting for you if you're willing to do offshore wind work. Yes, you're going to be out on a ship for 6 weeks at a time. You come home for a little bit, but in 6 months, you're making a hell of a salary, right?
Mhm.
So that's the why is that it's going to keep growing. It's here. It's not going away. There's an issue with energy security. So if you're in coding, we need you here. If you want to do manual labor, we need you here. There's a space for you in this industry.
For yourself, obviously, you have a huge career in this. Some of your highlights are, you definitely have uh, done some things. The president of the Boston chapter of the American Association of Blacks in Energy, first African American board member of the New England Women in Energy and Environment. And then also you've worked with committees in the Brown and Green space and other things, and also worked with the Department of Energy. When you look at energy and look at this as a career and a pathway, and as you said, you mentioned it's like, the six-figure job. What's that conversation like to tell somebody, listen, I know what traditional careers are. I know people are saying, hey, maybe I go over here, but here I am, a bona fide example as to I got some energy for you.
Yeah, there's a natural trajectory, right? Your salary is not going to go down. It's guaranteed to go up. Historically, you can look at the energy market and it's grown. Just in the construction realm of energy, it grew by 4.5%, which is more than the national average, right? So there's consistent growth. We know that our energy sources are changing. We know that there's just too many things that you can get into. It doesn't have to be power generation. It can be accounting, right? There are financial degrees just in energy because we buy, we sell it, we distribute it. There are so many layers that you can tap into depending on what it is you think you're passionate about. Look, what I do is high pressure, right? I'm a proponent of, look, everybody should go to therapy. If you're an executive, you should be in therapy. So it's someone that tells me, why I have a psych degree. We need you, right? We have great health insurance benefits. We need you. There's the argument for Black women. Do we wear the bonnet on the plane? Do we wear our hair in braids? Do we wear it wild and crazy? We need hairstylists. There's just overall benefits that are for everyone. So don't think because it's naturally listed as high science that there's not a place for you. I am the example in the sense that I came from the first time my mother had sex. She got me at 15, single mom. My dad died when I was 7, and so we made it right. My mom never graduated from high school, and I went on for a master's degree and 2 bachelor's degree. So it's all possible, even if you think that you don't have resources. Once you're in, get them to pay for your degree if you want another one. There's too many things here that are to your benefit. And if you walk away from the opportunity without exploring it, I guarantee that you will say, gosh, I wish I had at least looked into it.
Yeah, yeah. No bonnet on the airplane. I had that conversation coming in today. I was like, no, this is not. No, 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 no. That's another segment all by itself. But let me stick. Let me stick to the matter at hand and talk about this coloring book because you paved the way. You've got this beautiful coloring book to really connect energy and tell a story. And so for somebody who doesn't know, and you have this coffee table talk about my coloring book, how would you describe it?
Yeah, it was a passion project. It was one of those things that I almost felt like my daughter has access to amazing people, amazing women, and I felt like every kid should have access to them. And this was my way of bridging that gap. Most people said, "Well, why didn't you just write a book?" And I said, "Listen, there's a bunch of old people and they're not willing to change. They're not looking into this. I've got to go after young people where their eyes are wide open to opportunity. Coloring was one of those things that when I had my daughter, I had post preeclampsia. So I was stuck in a room with very low light, and the only thing I could do was color to keep my blood pressure down, to stay focused. And so when I started on this, I said, what helps us as women, as young people, get our stress down? It's very simple. It is coloring. You can stay inside the lens, you can stay out of it, whatever you want to do. But the book really comes with facts about these women that could get your mind stimulated on other opportunities. Like I said, they're in all walks of STEM. So thinking about what does it look like to talk to someone like my mom, who is featured in the book, like my daughter, who's in the book, that does everything that you can think of, from jujitsu to piano to horseback riding. And she's passionate about helping people in the same way that my mom is. And so looking at that, saying, how do I bring this to the world? The coloring book was the thing to do.
Yeah. Shalaya, talk to me about as you put the book together. Obviously, a lot of passion going in there, a lot of energy. I like that word, energy going to it. But as we know, sometimes there's challenges that come. So for you, biggest challenge in writing the book? I mean, it's a passion thing, you love it, but there's got to be a challenging side to it too.
Oh, absolutely. I had no idea how I was going to illustrate women that were my friends, right? You don't want to screw it up. And so I had this young lady, her name is Amijah Jones, and I met her in Iowa. And she saw me do some public speaking and she said, mentor me. And I told her no. And she was devastated. And I said, look, I don't want to disappoint you. And so what I learned was that she's a double major. She's part of the adoption system. And so she was paying for school on her own. She was majoring in Spanish and graphic design. And I said, you know what? This kid is on it. She is so dedicated to her work. She just wouldn't take no. And so she came back to me and she said, well, Shalaya, what can I do? What do I need to know from you? And so I gave her a list and she completed the list. And I said, okay, I'm going to hire her. And she did all of the illustrations. But that was the biggest challenge, is the illustrations. Once she did that, all of the profits I gave to her so that she could go and study abroad and learn more about art. And so she ended up going to Spain. She had a phenomenal time. She studied there. She's now back. And so in the second edition, I will do the same for her or another student. But this is this is the challenge, is when you don't know what you're doing, is how do you network to find the right people? And thankfully, she was in my life and I said, you are the person. And she did a fantastic job of illustrating all of my friends and family members for the coloring book.
And since the book has been out, what's the response been from the public and from your perspective? How are you taking it all in?
It's been overwhelming. When I got the first 100 book order, I was kind of like, oh gosh, I've got to figure out how to get these printed in bulk. I thought it was going to sort of be a one or two off, or that my immediate family would support me. And it's been folks that have seen me speak somewhere and they say, I love this. And then they're taking the books and they're giving away to full classrooms. I got a call from a friend in Chicago and said, hey, I'm going to speak to a group of second graders. Can I get 30 copies of your book? Yes. And so I'm thankful for my network. I'm thankful for the strangers that have just ordered and supported and been unapologetic about calling me directly and say, this is phenomenal. Can I be in the next edition? So it's been overwhelming, but it's been absolutely a joy.
This coloring book represents represents visual representation, and so as you talk about this visual representation, what's your takeaway that you want people to have when they see this, can experience it, and then also be able to digest it?
For me, it's all things are possible, right? So these women come from all walks of life. I have some folks that are Cape Verdean, others are, grew up in Puerto Rico. I mean, full scope of backgrounds in this. You've got to see yourself in at least one of these women, right? There's nothing in there that says this is unattainable. These are what we call regular people doing phenomenal things, and that's what I love about it. And we all know that representation does matter. Showing my daughter that she has a female pediatrician that looks like her is a big deal, because then she tells me, Mom, I think I want to be a doctor. She also wants to be an astronaut.
Mhm.
So I don't know how I'm going to afford it all. But representation absolutely matters, and it should be tangible, it should be attainable, it should be real to someone who is trying to figure it out or is just open to what's possible for themselves.
As I think about this journey that you've been on, I mean, obviously it started with you, your experience, then your education, and then, your vocation. It's been a good career in terms of really that upward trajectory. For minorities in energy, do you feel as though that you've now become that new bridge builder for those who are in energy to say, listen, it doesn't have to be that it's hard, but it doesn't have to be as hard as people make it, and you can do it too.
Yeah, some people say, they hear me speak and they're like, "You give me hope, right? You tell me that I can do anything." Even my partner says, "Gosh, you pour into me, and I think I can absolutely do anything." It's a gift. I'm honest and authentic about it. I think people have looked to me and said, Shalay, you are the face of energy. You're willing to talk to anybody who's willing to listen about coming into this industry. One of the key failures, without, there's nobody exempt from this, we don't do a great job as adults explaining to our kids what it is we actually do. And so I am, putting out the charge to people to say, talk to your kids and really show them what it is that you do and what the impact is. They don't truly understand. They know that the lights come on, they know that bills are paid, that sort of thing. But you've got to really share with them what it is you do and why you give away 8 hours your day every day to do it, right? Especially if you do love it. So I've absolutely been that person that says all things energy. Yes, I don't mind being the face of energy. If people keep asking me to do it, I'll keep showing up.
Yeah. So for people who want more information about connecting with the Chieftess Consulting Group and the work that you do, how do they go about doing it?
Absolutely. So you can visit chieftessconsulting.com. You can find me on Instagram. It's at Shalaya M. So that's Shalayam. And I'm always posting stuff, always doing fun stuff, sort of documenting my travels. And I am very responsive on LinkedIn. There's only one Shalaya Morissette, so it's easy to find me. Just spell it right.
Yeah. Well, Shalaya, thank you so much for being with us. Shalaya Morissette, who is the Chieftess Consulting Group, LLC, the founder, and doing some big and great things. And I can't leave without asking you, how do people get the book?
Visit the website. It goes out in the mail within 2 to 3 days. Uh, just get online.
Yeah. Congratulations. Great work, Shalaya. Thank you so much for being with us.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
All righty. We are taking a quick break, but guess what? We'll be back with more right after this.